So, how do you possibly track materials moving across such a wide area? Do you have people calling suppliers 24/7?
We actually use an app called Sealog. It lets us monitor the delivery and the movement of all logistics from the supplier right to our office. I remember one time it's around 4 a.m. We thought we were finished, but a final cross check showed a small discrepancy in the form for one sub-district. So we had to go back and manually review the stacks of materials.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to Suranua KPU Pohuwato podcast. I'm Eci and I'll be your host for today's episode. It's really great to have you here, guys. And you know what? We've got a special episode lined up. So this time we'll be speaking fully in English, and I'm very excited about it. And now, let's move on to our guest for today's. Please welcome the Secretary of KPU Pohuwato, Mrs. Silvani Polapa.
Yeah.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Echi.
How are you today?
I'm great. What about you?
I'm also great. Thank you for asking, and thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, ma'am, today we will talk about your job as a secretary at the General Election Commission.
Yeah,
It's about a routine administration and the incredibly intense, high stakes pressure of an election.
right.
So, most people know a secretary handles administration,
Mhm.
but when an election hits, your role changes drastically. So, what becomes the single most challenging part of your job during that period?
Okay. The most challenging part is hands down managing the logistical support for the entire election. We're talking about getting millions of ballot boxes, security shields, and the form to every single corner of our region. My biggest worry is one thing: will it arrive on time?
Wow, that sounds like a terrifying deadline, right?
Right.
So, how do you possibly track materials moving across such a wide area? Do you have people calling suppliers 24/7?
We mostly rely on technology, by the way. We actually use an app called Sealog. It lets us monitor the delivery and the movement of all logistics from the supplier right to our office. So we can track the trucks daily.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But logistics on that scale never go perfectly, right? So,
Right.
what happens when CLOC has a problem?
As usual as it is, it's not perfect, right?
Mhm.
So when the app throws an error or glitches, we have to switch immediately to manual communication. So we are on the phone, we're on the WhatsApp with the supplier. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so once materials do arrive at your office,
Mhm,
the hard part is over, right?
mhm.
So you just load them onto trucks and send them out?
Of course, no. That's the most physical and mentally taxing work begins. This is where we earn our overtime pay and sometimes our sleep deprivation. We have to count and arrange every single logistical item, not just a rough estimate, but every ballot, every security shield, and every piece of paper.
Every single piece?
Yeah,
How long does this take?
it takes literally all day and all night. We start in the morning and often work to the next morning over and over until it's done. And the crucial task is grouping. We have to allocate and group every piece according to its final destination, the sub-district level, and then down to the villages.
Wow, why is the grouping so stressful?
Yeah, because of the series, if we want to count, if one box of ballot is mistakenly grouped to the wrong village, it can disrupt the entire process on election day. So we struggle to ensure absolute 100% accuracy. We check and recheck the numbers and group again and again. That's the most challenging process we have.
Okay, so can you share an example of the kind of pressure or a close call you had during that counting and grouping stage?
Yeah, I remember one time it's around 4 a.m. We thought we were finished, but the final cross check showed a small discrepancy in the form for one sub-district. So we had to go back and manually review the stacks of materials. It was so exhausting, but catching that error was huge. It prevented the major issue later on.
Okay, so after all the counting and grouping, you finally move the logistics out.
Mhm.
It's given how crucial these materials are.
Yeah,
So,
right.
what is the procedure for transporting them to the villages? Is there a security protocol?
Yeah, absolutely. The security procedure is non-negotiable. These are the most important material for the election, so their transportation is highly secure. We need trucks, not small vehicles, and we engage the police to guard us.
The police?
Yeah,
That shows how seriously this is taken.
yeah, right.
So, why is the level of security so vital?
Yeah, it's vital because the items themselves are so sensitive. We need to guard the transportation until the logistics arrive safely in the village level. And we need to ensure there are no incidents, no tampering, and no delays. And the safety of this material is so paramount, and the presence of security forces guarantees that.
Okay, so you've ensured the counting is perfect, the grouping is
Yeah.
correct, and the delivery is secured by the military.
Yeah.
Your job is basically done at the point, right?
Well, the transportation is done, but our mental and our emotional struggle still continues
Mhm.
until the final moment, right?
Mhm.
When the election actually happens.
Okay, so talk us through the final moment. You've done everything.
Mhm.
The logistics are in the village.
Yeah.
The materials are ready. So what is like the morning of the election?
Yeah, it was like a mix of sheer exhaustion and intense anticipation. When the election, the election start at 7 a.m. and when the moment comes and the process begin, the reports start coming and everything is running smoothly. That's our payoff.
Okay, so what is the feeling when it's all over and the election went well?
It's a huge wave of relief and deep satisfaction. When the election goes well, it means we succeeded, right?
Yeah.
So the struggle with Silog, the endless of counting, the all night grouping, and the security escort it at work.
Yeah, so that's an absolutely incredible
Yeah,
perspective on a job most people never consider.
yeah, you're
So
right.
thank you so much for sharing your story of the sweet and the sour of election
Yeah, you're
logistics.
welcome.
Yeah, that's our show for today. To get more information about KPU Pohuwato's program and activities, please subscribe. Don't forget to like, give a comment, and share this video. So join us next time. Bye!